This was circulating Twitter yesterday, 30 films you must watch according to Christopher Nolan. It's a great list, obviously. It's Nolan. I trust that man with my life. You got 2001: A Space Odyssey, you have Star Wars, you have The Thin Red Line, Tree of Life, Alien, First Man. I've only seen 13 of these 30, so I have a lot of homework to do. But I thought it'd be fun if I did the same and gave you 30 films you must watch according to George Carmi. Starting with Scorsese's After Hours, a Scorsese film had to be on this list, and I kept going back and forth between After Hours and Silence, but After Hours is so fresh in my head after watching it a couple weeks ago, and I absolutely loved it. Charlotte Wells' After Sun from just 3 years ago, I think is an absolute must-watch. One of the best and most emotional cautionary tales in men's mental health. Almost Famous, I think, is quintessential coming of age. It's a really awesome blend of 70s rock and roll, coming of age, finding yourself, and a film I think you can find connection in no matter your age. Denis Villeneuve's Arrival, I think, is a must-watch. It's a beautiful look at life and memory. Back to the Future, it's just pivotal science fiction and the time travel movie. You're going to see a lot of romance films on this list. I think those are movies that prove to be the most important to me as I grow up. And Linklater's Before Sunrise, really Linklater's entire Before trilogy, I think is a must-watch. Ridley Scott's Blade Runner, obviously, this is a defining moment in science fiction filmmaking. A Coppola film had to be on this list. He is undeniably one of the greatest to ever do it. And I'm picking Bram Stoker's Dracula. Unbelievable fantasy filmmaking with some of the greatest images ever put to screen. Stuart Rosenberg's Cool Hand Luke, another film tackling men's mental health. It's something I take very seriously, and it's something I'm trying to be better at promoting on my platform. Another one of the greatest filmmakers to ever do it, and one of his films had to be on this list, and I am picking Crooklyn. I have a special bond with this film because of its New York backdrop. But regardless, I think it's absolutely beautiful and some of the best familial chaos ever put to screen. And it's given to us in just the most beautiful and heartwarming while also heartbreaking way. I think in 30, 40, 50 years' time, we're going to look back at Denis Villeneuve's Dune movies the way we look back at Star Wars, as being these defining moments in science fiction world-building filmmaking. Two Linklaters on this list. I think he's one of the best and most important filmmakers of our time. And Everybody Wants Some is my favorite of his. It's just one of the most awesome, relaxing Friends film you'll ever watch. It's hilarious and it's so real. And if there's one coming-of-age film I could absolutely recommend to you, it's Everybody Wants Some. Good Will Hunting, an absolute must-watch. One of the most important films I've ever watched with some of the most inspired writing in film. The Graduate, one of the OG great coming-of-age films. Watch it. I think it's a must-watch. Zhang Yimou's Hero is essentially a collection of some of the most inspired and beautiful images ever put to screen. Christopher Nolan's Interstellar has truly become the space movie. It provided me with the greatest theater experience of my life, and if this film is ever re-released again, this is something that is a must-watch on the big screen. Like I said, there's going to be a good chunk of romance films on this list, and I also needed to include Wong Kar-wai on this list, so In the Mood for Love is another one of my 30 selections. He is one of the most aesthetically pleasing filmmakers I've ever had the pleasure of watching. And In the Mood for Love is one of the most beautiful and heartbreaking tales of compassion and heartbreak. Damien Chazelle's La La Land, my opinion, the greatest musical of all time. It is grand, it is gorgeous, and it has one of my favorite final shots in film. The entire Lord of the Rings trilogy could be on this list, and while I think Return of the King is the best in the trilogy, I think The Fellowship of the Ring is the must-watch. I can't pick the third film in a trilogy to be a must-watch. You must watch the first one, obviously. The Matrix, another pivotal and defining moment in science fiction history. Bong Joon-ho's Memories of Murder, one of the most gut-wrenching journeys you'll ever go on in film. And also Bong Joon-ho's Parasite, quite possibly the greatest screenplay in film. Perfect Days has very recently climbed to the near top of my list of most important films. A movie dedicated to promoting the value of life and appreciating the world around you. The greatest horror movie of all time, Stanley Kubrick's The Shining, is an absolute must-watch. Sing Street is not a traditional must-watch recommendation, but it's a movie that means a lot to me and is very important to me. So for me, I think it's an absolute must-watch. Into the Spider-Verse, obviously, I think it's the greatest animated film ever made. I think it's one of the greatest comic book films ever made. A lot of science fiction on this list, but if you know me, you know how much I love science fiction. And Danny Boyle's Sunshine from 2007 is one of the most ambitious and audacious science fiction outings you will ever see. I really wanted to include more than just one horror film on this list, so my second pick is the Texas Chainsaw Massacre. I think this is a perfect movie, as I do every film on this list. But regardless, I think this is just such a textbook look on how to film a proper slasher. I hope you didn't think I was going to stop at 2 horror movies, because we actually have 3. John Carpenter's The Thing. So many moments in this movie directed to perfection. And I had the chance to watch this on the big screen a couple months ago, and holy shit. And watch Transformers. You have to. I'm telling you, you have to. It's one of my 30 films, so add it to your watch list.